I'm very lucky to be here in my reading area with the wonderful Marlize Venter. Marlize is an author of 3 books, all of which are very unique and seem to be completely different to each other. One is a book of poetry, one is a collection of stories from South African immigrants, and the other one is teaching kids to ask for help. Marlize is also a motivational speaker and has a very cool blog. I find Marlize to be an inspirational author because not only is she an author, she's an immigrant to Australia, a mother, a homeschooling parent, a small business owner, plus she's a motivational speaker. And her books have some very serious topics in them, such as migrations and reaching out for help. Marlize, thank you for letting me grow you.
Thank you so much for having me. It's really an honour. I haven't done this in a while, so thanks, Imani.
Let's get started. Have you always had a passion for poetry? I like reading it, but I find it really hard to write.
That's the first thing that I remember writing. Is, we had, in South Africa, we had these mine houses and they had these big windowsills outside, and I used to sit on them and write my poetry. That's, for me, that's the writing that comes instinctively. Although I've always written, poetry was the first thing that I remember. Poetry and songs that I remember writing. So yes, it's a gut thing, hey? It just comes from deep within you.
That's amazing. What is it like being an author while struggling with a homeschooling parent and a small business owner? When do you find time to sleep?
I don't know. You don't.
I would never find time to sleep if I did all of that.
What the whole thing is, and you know this. When you like something, you find time to do it, don't you?
Yeah.
All the other stuff that's not important, that might be urgent, I just kind of take it to the wayside. So cleaning my house is not on the list.
I don't think it's on
I
anyone's
don't
list.
like doing that. You make time for what you like, and writing, there's always something brewing in my head. So, and I find that once I get it out of my head, it's not as big as I thought it was. So for me, writing is therapy as well. And as long as I have that time, even if it's 10 minutes a day to just jot my feelings down, my emotions down, and it just centers me. So you make time. And you know the saying where give a busy person something to do and they'll get it done. It's just how it is. That's life. Hey? The busier you are, the more you get done.
Yes.
So, yeah, from one busy person to another busy person.
Your books are all so different to each other. What has inspired you to write each of them?
I wrote the book on kids asking for help when my kids were small. I actually wrote that before my youngest one was born. And it was just, I kind of wanted to venture into it and thought, I've always wanted to write, so let me do it. So that's the one thing, and maybe because I struggle to ask for help, because I always think I can do everything. And it's very important to understand that once you ask for help and people can help you achieve things, it's just so much better, because you're not an island on your own. The immigration book I wrote because being an immigrant myself, I knew the challenges. I knew the fears that people had, and it was a joint venture with another lady from New South Wales, where we just got the 22 stories, and it was phenomenal to see that everyone has a different motivator of moving to Australia. For us as a family, it was adventure. For other people, it's political circumstances, or it might be financial. But all of us have this connecting thing of being able to be brave and change countries and understand that we're now part of a global village. I think that for me is something that I wanted to give people, because everybody always asks you, how do you do it? Where do you go? What do you do? So it was good to tell the stories, but also then to give practical advice of where to go, what you should do, what you should take into account in this whole journey, because it is quite stressful, very, very stressful.
Yeah, it sounds challenging.
It was, but I've got to tell you, one of the best things we did. We really enjoyed Australia and the opportunities it brought our way.
Well, I'm very glad that you decided to come to Australia. Otherwise I wouldn't have met you, I wouldn't have met Neil, and then I was like,
Show? Awesome.
Did you always want to become an author or a motivational speaker, or is that something just kind of happened?
No. I think I grew up in a time where if you were good with words, you had to go and study law or go into a more academic type of job. And so I was good with words. People said, oh, you are so good in speaking and talking and you have to become a lawyer. So I became a lawyer. And so it's never been on my radar, and I've always written. It's always been part of me. It's something that as I was sitting in my Latin lecturer's class, I would write my poems out. And so I still have those, and I still have the stories that I've written when I was 18 years old. So I keep them. That's always been part of me. I never thought that I would be able to say, I am a writer. It never felt like a worthwhile job. But now I can say, when people ask me, I can say I'm this, but oh, I'm also a writer. So yeah, it's something that developed. I wish I had the bravery that you had, or you have, to do this and to walk this journey at your age. So it shows you're never too late to start something.
Thank you. Is it easier for you to write in Afrikaans or in Australian? What language are your books written in?
The books that I have out is Afrikaans. Poetry I'll always do in Afrikaans. Poetry is something of your soul, and I still think in Afrikaans, and I feel in Afrikaans, and I fight in Afrikaans. So, but I recently went to a writer's retreat and had to translate one of my pieces, and it was really received quite well, which gave me the confidence to start translating my work into English. So I think what would happen is that I would write something in Afrikaans and I would then translate it but make it relevant to the Australian situation as well. So Afrikaans is still the preferred way of writing for me. I'm growing in my confidence towards English a little bit every day.
Did you write most of your books in Afrikaans? I know that was just answered, but it's just on the thing. And I'm like, just going to go down the list.
Okay, so let's skip that one and we go to...
Why did you choose to move to Australia? Is one of these somewhere? I think that should be.
It's a situation, or it was an opportunity that presented itself. My husband applied for a position, got it. We said, we've never been out of the country. Let's take it. And we moved here in 2008. We thought we would go back 4 years later, but then when we went back to visit in 2010, I was pregnant with Shalom, and we came back. I said to him, this also feels like home, so let's stay. And that's how it just happened. Is we changed continents. We moved from one great Southland to another great Southland, and I'm able to call both home, because my mum still lives in South Africa. So where my mum lives, that's home. But where my husband and my boys are, that's home. So we moved for the adventure, the opportunity that Australia gives, and to see how things are done in other places. So that's why we moved.
It's really cool. And where can people purchase your books? Because I'm really fascinated by that.
Yes, I've not gone the normal route. My little children's book is free, that you can download on the web, as is my book on immigration. My book on poetry, I just printed a limited number of books on it. So at the moment, if people are interested in the book of poetry, I'll have to print on demand, and the others they can just download from my website.
And now it's just this feed questions,
Awesome.
which
One's
is
about ice cream.
yes, ice cream is on there. What are you writing at the moment?
I am writing a book that will consist of about 30 little short stories, which is conversations that I have with a friend, and I call them Hey Joe. she comes to visit me and we have coffee together and we just talk about serious things and not so serious things. It is geared towards the more mature woman out there, but I find that I have the ability to word what a lot of people are thinking but not always have the courage to ask or to say. So that's what I'm working on. It is in both Afrikaans and English, and hopefully by the end of the year I'll have a first draft and everything ready to send to editors and publishers and walk the more formal route that I've shunned until now. So that, and then I have another one that I worked on in 2015, 2016 that I'm just busy working through again. That, you know, that whole editing process. I left it for 3 years and I'm revisiting some of the work that I've written, and it's challenging because your voice changed so much. I don't know if you also find it that when you go back to work you think, what was I thinking here?
Yeah, it's like, so I went back to a short story from a long time ago. I'm like, very confused.
Exactly. To try and just get to where you were, what you were thinking, and the question then is, do I make it relevant to where I'm now, or do I keep it relevant to where I was then?
Exactly. It's like, it changes.
Yes. But I think that's, so yeah, I'm editing that again. So I'm kind of working on 3 books then. Good. Scary to hear that. So
What's your favourite ice cream flavour?
if it's ice cream, it's my favorite. Full stop. Love ice cream. Doesn't matter what it is.
What's one of your favourite poems you've written?
It was a very short one called Maybe Today, Sir. It's about, my husband used to give one of his administrative assistants a lift to his home, but he lived in a township, and then every time that he would drop him off he would say, maybe today, sir, and he would go. And then one day my husband kind of, because there was always something else that was said, and he listened more intently, and he said to him, so Abraham, what it is, you always say maybe today, sir. And he said, maybe today he comes, sir, because he's a Christian, so he was looking forward to Christ coming again. And that was kind of my favorite, because it's an expectation of a new day. So yeah, that's my favorite poem that I've written.
How long does it usually take you to write one of your books or poems?
Oh, forever. Imani, forever. My book on poetry I've been writing since I was 18, because poems are just like that. You write them in a time in your life, and then you go back and you rewrite them. I have ones on my computer that's date stamped 2006 from when Neil was born, and I've never published them because I know it's not a finished work yet. So poetry, forever. Books, I kind of go through seasons. So I would say the book on immigration, that was a 4-year project. It was a 4-year project, and it was laborious. Felt like it was not going to end, and thankfully it did. But the others I've been, like the one, it's also written 4 years ago, editing it only now. But the Hey Joe one, hoping to take a year. How long did you work on the Maybell book?
2 years.
Exactly.
So it just
forever.
takes so long. It's like you write it, and then you're like, oh wait, now I need to edit this, and then it's like, oh, what was I thinking then? And I was like, I gotta change this.
Yes. And it doesn't stop. Yes.
Never
So
stops.
forever, a lifetime.
Who was your favourite or most inspirational author?
Sure. In South Africa, there's a lady called Annelie Botha. She, I really enjoy her books. They cut to the bone, and they are gut-wrenching because they're so honest and raw, and it's just her life spilling out from her. And she had a book that I once read, and I climbed into the bath at 8 o'clock the evening, and I got out at 4 in the morning because I refused to read another day on that book. it was just so heart-wrenching. But I would say her, I love her style, I love her honesty, and her brokenness when she writes. So yeah, Annelie Botha.
Mm. Do you prefer cats or dogs?
Cats.
Do you prefer ebooks or hard books?
Oh, hard books.
I just like to feel the paper, and it's just like,
Yes.
it's a solid book.
Yes.
You can collect them.
You can.
What's your favourite place to write?
I write any place, in all honesty. I enjoy my very, very messy study, but then I equally enjoy my dining room table, which becomes messy quite quickly, and then I move to where there's space. So whichever space is available. Coffee shops, always, where I have a piece of paper and a pen, I write.
Do you remember the first book you ever read? Or if not, what's your favourite childhood book?
Mr. God, This Is Anna. Not the first book I read, but my favorite book of all time. Mr. God, This Is Anna by Finn. Phenomenal. And he wrote the second book, Anna and the Black Knight. I reread Mr. God, This Is Anna every year. It is just, it's wonderful. If you have access to it, read it. If you don't, I'll borrow it to you or loan it to you. It's just an amazing book. I love it.
What's your biggest achievement so far?
Accepting myself, liking myself. I think that's a good achievement to have.
Yeah, it's always tough because you're like, it's always a tough thing. Do you have any big goals for the future? Like any writing that you're hoping to get done? Or
With
something?
writing, I would like to have the books published, and I would like to feel like a grown-up writer. I don't know how to word it differently, but that's the one thing. And then next year I'm planning on moving my business from real estate photography to more glamour photography. So thinking of combining those two. So that's my dream. Taking photos and telling people's stories. That's what I would like to do, combining two loves together.
Nice. And lastly, do you have any advice for young writers?
Get your bum on the chair and write. It's not glamorous. And believe in yourself, but don't say you want to be a writer and you're not willing to have flat bum. So just get your bum on the chair and write. That's the biggest thing. You have to. And I think the second one is believe that you can do this. Everybody has a story to tell. It's part of who we are. And if you're blessed with the gift of telling stories, you can make people dream and feel not so alone.
So I definitely think that's a major thing. Thank you so much for letting me interview you. This has been awesome.
Thank you for having me. It's lovely. Yeah, thank you. Thanks for enjoying what I do as well.